It's that time again where I take a look at another fintech sponsored in collaboration with Fintech Finance, the leading news platform for financial technology. Welcome back to another episode of STU'S Reviews. Just quickly before we dive in, guys, if you are watching today's video, I would massively appreciate pressing that thumbs up. I'm trying to hit a goal of 500 likes on every video that I'm uploading at the moment, and we're really close. We're about 450 on most videos, so just hit that thumbs up and it will really help me out, and a massive thanks from me for doing that. I love all sorts of technology, and every once in a while, on behalf of Fintech Finance, I take a look at some financial technology because that's my kink. There's a brave new world of technology out there that allows us to control our own money in ways that we've never done before, and I love to explore that. You've seen me take a look at challenger banks before, like Monzo and Starling and N26, but this is one of the first times I'm taking a look at a challenger stockbroker called Freetrade, which is heralded as one of the best beginner stockbrokers of 2021 so far. Now, as of this review in April 2021, all of the information I'm about to talk about is correct and all the features are correct. Obviously, that is subject to change as Freetrade adds more features, which they like to do quite often. So, let's dive in. So, who and what is Freetrade? Freetrade is a relatively new company founded in 2016 by Adam Dodds and David Fiorinelli. They released the first version of the service in 2008 for iOS and April 2019 for Android. Currently only available in the UK, Freetrade are actively pushing to launch in Ireland, Australia, France, Germany, Netherlands and Sweden, all of which you can sign up for the waiting list for. I've started using Freetrade myself back in February 2020, and it's grown immensely since then, with new features rolling out all of the time. They currently have over 600,000 registered users according to Wikipedia, and that number is also growing stupidly fast, and it's easy to see why. With over 4,000 stocks available in the app in both US and UK markets, it makes it a significantly comprehensive service to use for investing. But that isn't the main reason. Let's get the main talking point of Freetrade on the table straight away. And that is that it's completely free to trade on Freetrade. Every single trade that you execute, Freetrade do not charge a commission. Now, this makes it a really powerful tool for people who are used to the stock market, but more importantly, people who are small investors, people who want to experiment with shares that they might not normally have purchased. So I think it's such a powerful tool for this particular reason. And to my knowledge, I think it was the first of its kind to operate a business like this where they don't charge you to trade in the stock market in the UK. This was one of the reasons I was drawn to it initially last year, because it meant I could explore the stock market, put a tiny bit of money in and just start getting used to it rather than having to invest in large amounts to reap any benefits. Let's compare it straight away with another service. If I wanted to buy, say, 5 shares of Cineworld, that would cost me around £5 to do so within Freetrade, assuming that Cineworld is £1 per share. If you did it through another service that's shown on the Freetrade website, it will charge you upwards of £5 for making that trade. So you're paying £5 for the shares and then another £5 on top of that for the trade. That means you're buying those shares at £10, meaning that you would have to wait for those shares to double in price before you made any form of profit. And this is where small investors or experimental investors are completely priced out by other services, and this is where Freetrade wins by a mile. It makes it affordable and accessible for everybody, and I love the fact that Freetrade have made a service that allows us to do this. I think it's incredible. Now, the discovery of the shares is done in a very simple way as well, and it's not overly confusing for those new to trading. You can browse via category, and within this, next to each ticker, is an extremely simplified piece of detail on what the company does, making it super easy to locate companies you might want to invest in. Say, for example, I wanted to invest in green energy. All I'd need to do is delve into the energy sector heading and have a look at the snapshot description to see which ones might be of interest. So for example, there are things here that say solar energy or green energy. All of these sort of things would be of interest to me if I was wanting to invest in renewable resources or renewable energy. These descriptions are useful, but they're also quite hilarious in some cases. Take McDonald's, for example. Under their little description, it simply says the word Big Mac. And under Alibaba, it says Chinese Amazon, which isn't wrong. And these are funny, but also quite informative just to get a quick snapshot of what that company is or what that company does. Now, if you did want further information, tapping on those stocks, you can get a bit more of a description at the bottom and information on that company as well. But what I really like is there's a link underneath this that allows you to click on it that takes you to the forums. Now, this is a place where you can discuss the share with other users of Freetrade. Now, this has helped me quite a lot in looking at a particular share and whether or not it's something I want to invest in. Normally, any kind of news or information or things that I should know gets posted and discussed in these forums. This is invaluable at creating a community around the stock market for people who might be new, might be a little bit afraid, want information and want some help in deciding what could be a good stock or company to invest in. So this feature for me has been really useful, and actually it's not something I've been using for that long. That feature I've only been using for about 3 or 4 months, but when I've delved into it further, now I can't stop looking at it. Every time I look at a stock, I look at that forum page and see what people are saying about it. Going back to the main page, you can view the curated lists to make it easier to find certain stocks, such as looking at popular stocks or tech titans. There are tons and tons of stocks available in Freetrade in both the US and UK markets. Now, Freetrade also shows upcoming IPOs as well, so you can start making an investment plan on whether or not that's something you want to invest in. And I think this is quite a good feature as well, because it does allow you to plan forward and keep an eye on potential opportunities there in the stock market. Now, you might notice that when you go to buy a share, you don't actually get the option of how many shares. Instead, you get the option of how much money you want to invest in the company, and that's because you can buy fractional shares. This is also a super hot feature of Freetrade. Now, a fractional share is basically exactly what it means. You're not buying a full share. Now, why is this important for people like myself or you watching this? Well, let's look at certain companies like Amazon, for example. What's Amazon currently trading at? So to buy one share of Amazon, I currently need to invest £3,309 to buy just one share of Amazon. Now that, to me, is priced way out of what I can afford to invest in the stock market in one particular share. That's a super high price. Well, the fact that I can buy a fractional share means I can buy a very small percentage of one share. I can buy 0.1%. I can buy a third of a share. I can buy half a share. I can buy however many portions of that share I want. Now, the way this works, let's say, for example, you want to hypothetically invest in the fictional shares of STU'S Reviews, which are worth £100 a share, but you only want to invest £10 in STU'S Reviews. You'd buy that fractional share, which is 0.1 of a share of STU'S Reviews. If that share then increases to £1,000, which it will without a doubt, so definitely invest in STU'S Reviews, your share value will also increase with that increase, but it increases proportionately. So 100 to 1,000 is 10 times, so your £10 would become £100, if that math is correct. It's just super useful for people who don't want to invest huge amounts of money, but still want to kind of invest in the companies that they want to support, like Amazon or Google or Tesla. A lot of these companies have shares, like I said, that are priced way out of most people's budget for investing in the stock market, but the fractional shares, again, is another element of Freetrade that makes it accessible to everybody and not just those who are looking at spending hundreds of thousands of pounds in investing. Now, once you've bought your shares, this goes into your portfolio, at which point you can see how much you've gained on those shares, along with some standard information about your portfolio. Adding money to your Freetrade account couldn't be simpler. They use open banking and instantly money gets deposited straight into your account. So there is no wait. And actually, that's a really new feature that they've implemented. Prior to this, it would take a few hours to go into your account after it's been verified, but about 3 weeks ago, they implemented instant deposits, and that is fantastic. There is a couple of little things here though. It's not instant withdrawals. It can take a little while for a number of different reasons. First of all, when you come to sell stocks, it can take a little while for that money to settle, usually around 2 days. What's interesting though is that Freetrade allow you to reinvest that money immediately after selling a stock. You just can't withdraw it. So Freetrade kind of front your next transaction for you because they know that that money is coming from the sale of stocks that you've just made. Now this is extremely handy, and it means you don't have to keep waiting for that money to settle. But if you do want to withdraw it, you do end up waiting a couple of days for that money to settle. And then it usually takes around, well, what they say, 3 to 5 days to transfer back into your current account or your bank account after you've fully withdrawn from the app. But interestingly, I tried that for the sake of this review. I've done it many times, but for the sake of this review, I did it with £1 to see how long that would take to transfer from my account on Freetrade to my bank account. And it actually did it in about 1.5 days. So it was much quicker than what they suggest, 3 to 5 days. Potentially they're just covering themselves if the service is extremely busy or for whatever reason, but typically speaking, it was quicker than what they promised. So that was a big round of applause from me. Now, it's not just a standard investment account that these guys offer either. They also offer a few other things, starting with an ISA, which is just £3 a month. Now, that's a pretty reasonable price considering that ISAs have a bunch of tax benefits along with them. So if you are intending on investing a higher amount in the stock market or in Freetrade, you might want to consider using something like an ISA, which will give you those tax benefits. Now, there is another subscription service that they offer called Freetrade Plus. Now, this is a bit more expensive at $9.99 a month, but for that, you get access to a few more features that this free standard membership doesn't have. You get access to more stocks, although, to be honest, with the standard free membership of Freetrade, there's already a ridiculous amount of stocks, but there are a couple more available with Freetrade Plus. But the feature that I love the most about Freetrade Plus is the ability to put triggered stop losses and limit orders. These are good. Now, I've spoken about stop losses before in a few other reviews, but for those that don't know what a stop loss is, basically, if you put a stop loss on one of your stocks, let's say you buy a share of STU'S reviews at £100, that increases to £1,000, as we've said it already has done. Now, you can put a stop loss at, say, £750. Now, this essentially guarantees that if that stock was to suddenly plummet, your stock would sell at £750, even if that stock kept on going lower and lower and lower. And this is without you watching it or managing it. So essentially, Freetrade will execute that on your behalf. Now, this just means that you can maximize your profits without having to keep a ridiculous eye on your stuff at all times. It just means you've got that kind of guarantee and that safety net to always sell at the price that you want to sell at. Of course, you could sell it when it's at $1,000, but as with anything the stock market go up, it can go down. A stop loss is just there to do exactly that. Stop your losses. And that is a super powerful feature of Freetrade, and one of the reasons that I upgraded to Freetrade Plus myself. There is one little feature request here though, and don't get me wrong, I love the stop losses, they're fantastic, but I would love a trailing stop loss. Now, a trailing stop loss is one that moves with the price of the stock. So I could set it, say, 10% behind the highest price, so that the stock can keep going up and my stop loss keeps on going up, and then if it drops, it stops. So every time that stock drops, my stop loss stays stationary, and if that stock then drops below 10%, it then triggers that stop loss and the stock sells. Now, that to me is quite a powerful tool and not something that Freetrade has at the moment. They may have it in future, but at this moment, it's a stationary stop loss that you simply set a price target at, and that's good enough for now. Also, there is one other thing Freetrade Plus gives you, and that is interest on the amount of money that you have in your Freetrade account that is uninvested in the stock market. Now, they currently give 3% interest, which is actually a significantly good interest rate on your money that you're holding there. It's probably one of the best interest rates that you can find at the moment. But it's no coincidence that it's 3%, because the maximum amount of money they'll give you 3% on is £4,000. Now, 3% of £4,000 in 1 year is £120. The price of Freetrade Plus is $9.99 a month, which means it's about £120 a year. which means in that case, Freetrade Plus pretty much pays for itself, and that is incredible. But it's no coincidence. Overall, I felt that Freetrade Plus was a natural progression for me after using it for around 9 months and then wanting a little bit more, wanting a bit more control, wanting to use things like stop losses to experiment a bit more with some other stocks, and also to mitigate any losses in some more volatile stocks that I've invested in. So I think you'll probably feel the exact same if you use Freetrade for a certain amount of time. Let's put all these features to one side for just a second, because I believe there's one big reason why Freetrade has grown significantly in its user base over the past year. Well, first of all, obviously, the service is fantastic and there's been a lot of hype around the stock market, but also their referral program is superbly generous. Now, the way it works is you can share your code with somebody, and if they sign up using your link, they can get a free share worth up to £200. Once somebody has used a referral link, it queues their free share to be revealed to them on a Wednesday, but until that point it's in a mystery mode and you don't know what share that is. Now, this can get quite addictive because every time you look at a referral share and it gets revealed, you're like, oh, is it going to be worth £200 or is it going to be worth, say, £5? That mystery is quite fun and quite addictive to referring people. I asked you guys a few weeks ago to sign up to Freetrade using my link and let me know what share you got in the comments. And you did. You guys really helped. And with all of that, I've collated 94 inputs into this data to try and work out exactly what the average free share price may be. Obviously, this is just based on what I've received and what you guys have received. It's not looking at everything. So these might be completely wrong, but based on 94 responses, there's only a 6% chance that you'll get a share over £10. And the highest share that was received was for AT&T at £21, which is a far sight away from the £200 maximum value share, but it's actually still a fantastic referral amount, 20 quid for just referring somebody or just signing up to Freetrade. That is awesome. The most commonly appearing value for these shares, according to the 94 inputs that we had, was around £4 to £6. 71% of all shares received through the Freetrade referral program in this survey were between £4 and £6. So it's a pretty decent assumption that there's a good chance that you might receive a share between £4 and £6 for signing up to Freetrade, which is actually quite far away from £200 still, but it's still a fantastic value considering all you're doing is signing up. If you do sign up using my link, there's a good chance that I'll be coming back and doing a catch-up episode on Freetrade if they implement any new groundbreaking features or make any changes, and that usually is in around a year's time. So if you want to kiss and tell, come back to the comments here and let me know what share you got and what price that was as well, because that will help me take a revised look at what the average price of a free share is from Freetrade. So you can play your part if you do sign up. Now, there is only one other feature request that I want from Freetrade going forward, and that is the ability to buy whole shares. Now, we've spoken about the fact that you can buy fractional shares, and the way that works is you simply input the amount of money you would like to invest in a company, and it will award you an equivalent version of the shares. Now, that can often lead to having, say, 3.1647546434222 number of shares. That triggers something in me. I want it to be whole and round numbers. So I would love the option of being able to switch that, and instead of buying based on how much I want to invest in a company, I want to be able to buy based on how many shares I would like. That might just be me being a complete and utter lunatic wanting that. That, I think, is probably one of the only little things that I would love to see improve with Freetrade, just because that triggers something in me that is lunatic level. But I've loved the service from start to beginning, and starting using it back in March, February 2020, till now, the improvements have been incredible, and it really has helped me get my feet in the stock market and sort of experiment with things that I wouldn't have experimented with otherwise. And I can't say thank you to Freetrade enough for that experience. It's been amazing. And like I said, being one of the first of its kind in the UK to offer fee-free trading has really helped so many people out in the UK. And like I said, if you want to give it a go yourself, it's completely free to do so. You can use my link in the description and potentially get a share worth up to £200. but we probably know it's going to be between 4 and 6. But if you do, like I said, please let me know in the comments what share you get and what price that's at. But other than that, guys, I am trying to hit 500 likes on today's video, so hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more reviews when they go live. But I'll see you back with a regular episode of STU'S Reviews soon.